What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Thing Goes back again for another video, and today I'm gonna be talking about Invincible yet again. But we're gonna turn back the clock about a couple years, to 2018, because even though this isn't really any new information, I do want to bring this up and talk about it real quick and see what discussion it'll stir up in the comments. Quite funny. And I just thought about it. I'm always looking for new content to talk about, especially when it's dealing with Invincible. But I just thought this was hilarious. So early on in 2018, before, well, no, I think this was, let me see when this article was made. This was okay, it was early. Early on in 2018, February, this is when we started getting the news that they were going to try to do something with Invincible because the comic book series was ending around this time. The show wasn't announced yet. But before the show even got announced, before they started going forward and ahead with the show, and they was making it into a show and all that good stuff, it was first announced to be a movie. Yeah, how the fuck could they make an Invincible movie with all that lore, all them characters? I mean, maybe it could be done if you know what you're doing, but it's very hard to get all of the story beats that you need to hit in a movie with a comic book series as long and as deep as Invincible. So I'm gonna read the article that was made way back in 2018 on a, what's this website here, Mashable.com. Let me read this article to you guys. So, Invincible comics are done, but Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen have big movie plans. Now, if you don't know, Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen, they're the team, the duo that created the Preacher AMC series. So when I first heard this news, I was interested because I know Seth Rogen is a big comic book nerd geek, and he did a good job with the Preacher show, even though he did change a lot of stuff and move some shit around in there. Preacher was still a pretty good show. And he got to tell the entire story all the way to the end, 4 seasons, and finished all that good stuff. So I was interested to see what he could do with an Invincible movie. Even though I was still thinking the same thing that I said earlier on in this video. They're probably gonna trim a lot of the fat. How are they gonna do this? How is this gonna turn out? I remember how excited I was when I first saw this news. And this was around the time when I was like fresh on Invincible too. Like right when I had finished the series and everything and I had heard about this. So I was stoked, I was super excited. But once again, concerned. So, Robert Kirkman's long-running Invincible comic book series comes to an end on February 14th in issue 144. But there's more to come from the Walking Dead creators' superhero universe, including a movie written, directed, and produced by Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen. The movie will attempt to capture some portion of Invincible's 15-year journey with Mark Grayson, the comics Imponius, I think that's the word, I don't know, superhero, and the people in his orbit. It all starts when the high school aged Mark, son of Superman-esque hero called Omni-Man, way better than a Kryptonian, so I don't even like making that comparison anymore. Anyway, suddenly develops powers. The filmmaking duo behind 50-50, This Is the End, and more faces a fresh challenge with Invincible. How do you encapsulate 144 issues of storytelling into a single movie? Now see, this article was highlighting the same thing that I mentioned earlier. They would have to squeeze a lot into a short amount of time. Even if it was a series of movies, they would still have to cut out a lot of stuff. There's an easy, simple answer. You don't. That's what they said. I didn't say that. He said that just now. But that raises a whole set of other questions, many of which Goldberg and Rogen are wrestling with now as they plot out their plans. So let me reread that real quick. There's an easy, simple answer. You don't. But that raises a whole set of other questions, many of which Goldberg and Rogen are wrestling with now as they plot out their plans. Now this is what they said. We are definitely telling the classic story of Invincible, and we are doing some directorial things that will make it more dynamic than just the straight up story, Goldberg explains during a recent interview. We see how that turned out. We've come up with some conversations that I think will make it a more cinematic experience that fits the time frame more. But we're not reinventing the wheel here. We're not going to massively change Invincible. The core story of the comic and the core characters are what makes it great. We are definitely telling the classic story of Invincible, and we are doing some directorial things that will make it more dynamic. That's what he said. By more directorial things, maybe he mean by not making it into a movie and making it into a damn comic book. I mean, making it into a damn animated series. Cause after looking at it for a while, they probably was like, yeah, ain't no way in hell. The two aren't yet willing to discuss the scope of their story because once they saw the scope, they was like, fuck no. That's as much of a product of the comics penchant for surprising the reader as it is anything else. Even if you're just looking at the first dozen issues of the comic, there are two major plot twists that carry massive story implications. I think it is so rare that there's a twist and plot that actually works, Rogan said. It really is one of the best parts of the comic that there are reveals that actually function as giant reveals that you really don't see coming. Goldberg echoed that sentiment. Kirkman does this crazy amazing thing that we're very much going to try to do in the movie, which is he lulls you into a sense of security and convinces you in the first 20 minutes of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He said, now I can't even use that because I've never seen that movie, but that's what they said in the article. Anyway, they keep referencing Steven Spielberg movies where it's like warm and fuzzy and family and relatable, and then he just does the darkest part of a Quentin Tarantino movie, but completely grounded in reality, which makes it more fucking insane, and you don't see it coming. That he's talking about pretty much what happened in the first 13 issues of Invincible, where you thought the entire story was pretty much laid out for you, and then out of nowhere it's revealed that Omni-Man is a Viltrumite and he's actually on Earth to get it ready for Viltrumite takeover. And he says that he never was really in love with Debbie Grayson. He never cared about Earth or the people there, and he was never a hero trying to protect it. He was just waiting for his moment. And then they got into that big fight and he beat his son Mark Grayson to near death. Pretty sure that's the huge major twist that they're referring to. That sort of narrative, ebb and flow, is something the two filmmakers have generally aimed to deliver in their work. 50-50 mixed cancer with humor. This is the end. Hilarious movie. Mixed horror with humor. In this, he's doing it with family and warmth and stability and insanity and the chaos of the world. It's that up and down, Goldberg said. He's created, see, like I said, that's what they're definitely talking about. He's created this pace to it where when fucked up stuff happens, you're not ready for it, and you forget it's a comic where that can happen. To me, that's so incredible. The two first appearances of Kirkman's radar, the two first appeared on Kirkman's radar years before the Invincible movie was announced in 2017. Oh, okay, so the movie was announced way back in damn, time go by fast, man. Because like I said, I still remember when they first announced it. They'd hatched an idea for a comic book and they brought it to him sometime before Kirkman's Skybound imprint launched in 2010. I met with him back when he worked for Image Comics, and I said, we have a comic that we want to pitch to you. How do we go about doing that? He was like, you just did, approved. Now see, Kirkman can be pretty cool sometimes when he not trolling. Goldberg laughed. I didn't understand. I was so confused and I didn't get Kirkman. I didn't understand he had a dry, almost British humor to his personality. So I just thought he was fucking with me or something. Rogan was similarly thrown by the response, and nothing ended up happening with that meeting. But years later, when Universal proposed an Invincible movie to be on to the pair fans, an Invincible movie to the pair fans of the book, both they leaped at the opportunity. So Universal, they wanted to actually back the Invincible movie. That's interesting. With Kirkman, from square one, he was just like, yeah, man, we'll fuck around, we'll change things, we'll make it better. I've done this well, I've done this bad. I like this part, I don't like this part, Goldberg said. He made it super accessible, which is really nice when you're terrified you're going to fuck up his baby. A big component of what makes it so accessible, Goldberg and Rogan don't just have the Invincible comics to work with. Kirkman handed them the keys to the entire universe. Now that's interesting, to see them make a movie from the perspective of actually having access to the entire universe and not just the characters in Invincible. Would have been interesting to see how they did that and came up with their own movie in that way. Now, I'm not gonna read this whole article because it goes on for quite a bit, but like I said, man, how do you think it would have worked out if they made an Invincible film? I know I wouldn't want that. The only way I think it would work is if they continue to do the animated series, it's successful, it gets like maybe 2-3 seasons. Not only that, but about 2 or 3 seasons, probably 2 good seasons before they can drop a movie on us. They could have a couple of animated movies. You remember when they used to do that back in the day, when they had animated series that went on for a while, and then they would have animated movies that would happen in between seasons? They do that a lot with anime now. Well, they'll have like an anime show last for a couple of years, or way longer than just a couple, and then they'll also have movies that release in between the seasons. We have it with My Hero Academia currently right now. The show is about to be in its 5th season, but it's released 2 theoretical movies already. The first one, the 2 Heroes, and My Hero Academia, One's Justice. So you know what I'm saying, it's pretty cool to see how you can, or the 1,000,001 Dragon Ball Z movies, the One Piece movies, you know what I'm saying? Like, people do that all the time. You have an animated series that lasts for a long time, and you released movies to further add on to the lore, or just give you more time with the characters, or just to make a side story that isn't even actual canon to the main story, just to give you, you know what I'm saying, more fights and more time with the characters. So it'd be pretty cool if they did something that like with Invincible. They could make an original movie, or they could do similar to what the Kimetsu no Yaiba Demon Slayer movie that's going to be coming out soon later this year. They could do what they're going to be doing. That movie actually is in canon stuff. It's going to be a movie, but it's going to be a movie that actually takes place in the actual manga time frame. So it's canon. It's not going to be non-canon. So I think that would be cool as well. Like, let's say we have 2 or 3 seasons of Invincible, and then once we get closer and closer to the Viltrumite War, or even before that, they could make the Invincible War a movie. That whole part in the comic where Angstrom Levi actually unleashes a whole bunch of ultra-dimensional Invincibles onto the Earth, and then Invincible has to team up with a lot of different heroes from different comics and different worlds, like Sarah Pazzini Witchblade, or I know Spawn, Al Simmons Spawn, or the Youngbloods, you know what I'm saying? Like, he could team, or the Darkness, Jackie Estacado, like he can team up with different characters like that, and they can make a movie out of it, also simultaneously building up and introducing these new characters that could potentially spin off into their own series on Amazon. So it's a lot of potential there. You can make a movie about the Guardians of the Globe and their adventures once you see them build up their own team, with Brit leading it. You could make a movie about the Viltrumite War when that starts to build up. Hell, you can even make a movie about the fight with Conquest. Or that, since that's at the tail end of the Invincible War, you can have the Conquest fight be the finale of that. It's so many possibilities, man. So I think that would be the best way to go about it if you want to still make an Invincible movie and have the series, the animated series, at the same time. You have your cake and eat it too. But I don't think it would have been a good idea for them to just make an Invincible movie, and only that, high budget, by Universal, and with live action actors. I just think it wouldn't have worked out like that. Now, if the movie was animated, maybe, it still could have been pretty cool. If they kept it mature and it was animated, and they still had the same people working on it, still probably could have turned out pretty cool. And with an animation, they probably could have had way more movies to further flesh it out and make sure that they at least hit the main story beats that they wanted to hit. But the budget and the acting and just the actors in general and all the extra shit that they would have had to do with real actors, I think it would have been way harder to do it with, in a traditional movie style. This story is very huge. It's a lot going on, a lot of different worlds, a lot of different characters. I think it's better suited to do it in an animated format like they're going to do it with the Amazon Prime series. Now, I don't know how this show is going to turn out. I hope, for the sake of my channel and my sanity, that it turns out good and it gets to last for a long time. But like I said, man, let me know what you think about my opinion on how they should do the movies, if they do any movies at all. Like, this is all just speculation. I'm just going off of that article way back when they just came out of nowhere and said they was making an Invincible movie, and it made me think about it. They said they was making an Invincible movie, and then we just didn't hear nothing about it ever again. It just disappeared, and then they re-announced it saying that they're making an Invincible series. So I kind of forgot about the movie completely. I remember that. Like, I didn't think to myself when I heard about the Amazon animated series, I didn't think to myself, what happened to the movie? I was just so stoked that they was making an animated series that I literally forgot all about the movie. But randomly today, I just thought about it. I was like, yeah, they did say they was gonna make a movie, huh? And then it just had me thinking about it, like, let me make a video talking about that forgotten movie, and also bring up how I think they could make movies in the future and also keep it in line with the animated series as well. So let me know what you think about this video, man. If you agree, disagree, hit the like button, hit the dislike button, share this video. Also hit that bell to be notified for more Invincible videos and more content from this channel. Let me know what you think, man. And yeah, hope you're having a good day, night, wherever you are. And until next time, guys, peace.